Yes.
you,
Okay.
are you ready?
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everybody. We all know that the
Would you like
spread.
to record?
So yes, yes. Yeah, I would
I
like to.
think she is muted.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
please
Ooh.
unmute your microphone.
Okay, okay. Let me see. Oh, okay. It's here.
We can't hear you.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna talk about COVID-19 hate and racism speech on social media and how we can combat this. You know that the spread of COVID-19 worldwide has been associated with xenophobia, hate, and racist speech on social media, which sometimes encourages bullying, microaggression, and violence in the different communities. For example, President Trump called COVID-19 the Chinese virus, and former Italian Deputy Prime Minister wrongly linked COVID-19 to African asylum seekers, and he wanted to close the borders. In Lebanon, a party leader wanted to quarantine the Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon. In Indonesia, people called the first woman infected with COVID-19 devil. A Saudi Arabian actress suggested that COVID-19 vaccines be tried on prisoners. Another Kuwaiti actress, she wanted to throw away foreign workers infected with COVID-19 in the desert. This was in March. Now things have changed now. Now, in my study, I tried to answer a couple of questions. The first one, are there still negative sentiments against communities and races associated with COVID-19 5 months after the outbreak of COVID-19? Because the questionnaire I conducted was in July. Are there Twitter pages that combat hate and racist speech associated with COVID-19 that target students and instructors? And also, I wanted to propose a model for a Twitter page that teaches tolerance and anti-racism to students with regards to COVID-19. The participants of my study consisted of 125 students and 105 instructors. What I did also, I searched Twitter for pages that teach tolerance or cultural diversity, combating the coronavirus hate speech, or COVID-19 and racial justice, coronavirus and anti-hate speech. And what I did, I used a questionnaire survey that consisted of one open-ended question. In my question, I asked the participants if they consider COVID-19 a punishment from God to certain countries, and I gave them a number of countries. And if they say yes, it's a punishment, I asked them why, asked them for reasons. If they said no, it's not a punishment, I also asked them to justify their answers or their position. Now, these are the results. 51% of the participants think COVID-19 is a punishment from God to certain countries. 33% do not think it's a punishment, and about 16% were undecided. They didn't know whether it's a punishment or not. Now, those that think it's a punishment from God, they said in the first place, 40% of them think it's a punishment in the first place to China. And 30% of those, they think it's a punishment to the USA. 27% think it's a punishment to Arab countries. Another 27% think it's a punishment to the whole world. And 17% think it's a punishment to Iran. 13% think it's a punishment to India. I found a positive correlation between instructors and students' responses. Now, the reasons the participants gave, those who said it's a punishment from God, they think it's a punishment to China because of their crimes against the Uyghur Muslims. Those who think it's a punishment to the United States, they said because of its invasion of and crimes in many countries. Those who think it's a punishment to Arab countries, they said because Arab countries are not following the teachings of Islam. Those who think that it's a punishment to the whole world think because of corruption and vice. However, those who think it's not a punishment think that or said that God is just and will not punish all the people in the world. And some said because people of all religions, all faiths, and have been affected. And some said because COVID-19 is like other catastrophes, like droughts and earthquakes, they hit everybody and they can hit any country. And some said there are medical, social, economic, political, travel, and commercial reasons for the pandemic. Some gave examples of pandemics that took place throughout history, like the plague and the Spanish flu. Now, these are my reflections on the participants' views. The participants' views, they are ideology-based. And here I'm going to give just examples of the comments they made to the question. So some of the ideology-based views, or some people said Iran is the enemy of God and enemy of Islam and Arabs. Some of the views are just social myths, like when somebody said the Chinese eat insects and bats. The views also show lack of exposure to other cultures and inadequate knowledge and misinformation. Some believe and interpret information without verification, like when they say China tortures Myanmar's Muslims. They don't know where Myanmar is and where China is. They mix Myanmar and China. And those who said Russia promotes homosexuality and Iran mistreats Muslims, although Iran is a Muslim country. And one student said, I never traveled, but this is what I hear. Also, the participants' views show overgeneralizations when they say the USA, India, Russia, Germany, France, Italy, UK, Spain, these are some of the countries I listed in the question. They are the axis of evil. And when they say, for example, COVID-19 is a punishment to all Arab countries and all countries in the whole world on equal footing without excluding any country. And those who have this view constitute about 27%. Okay, now the results of the study, they can be interpreted in the light of the social amplification and attenuation risk framework by Kasperson and Kasperson, 1996. And what this theory is based on, it's based on a risk event, which is COVID-19, and on the other side, the receivers, and the receivers here are the students and instructors. And then the risk event is amplified by social media or even by media like TV, like newspapers, because they show videos, pictures, they use certain language, and then these trigger hate speech and negative sentiments. Now, the details of this theory, they are in the paper. When I searched Twitter pages to find out if there are any pages, anti-hate and racism pages that are directed towards the students, I found a limited number of pages that promote tolerance, anti-hate, and anti-racism, but those are for they promote tolerance, anti-hate, and anti-racism in general, and they are for all people or all ages, not necessarily students. So, in summary, there is a lack of Twitter pages that counteract hate speech and negative sentiments associated with COVID-19, probably because this is because of lack of research in this new area of research. Now, in my study, I'm proposing the creation of anti-hate Twitter pages for students and instructors. The aim of the page is to teach students tolerance and raise their awareness of the COVID-19 pandemic, to develop critical awareness and critical thinking skills, and develop also dialogue skills, global awareness related to COVID-19 pandemic, and also to develop the students' ability to search for valid and authentic information. Now, the followers of this proposed page will be teachers and students from different backgrounds, countries, cultures, ethnicities, religious backgrounds. And their roles on the page, they enter into dialogue to gain knowledge about COVID-19. The Twitter environment on this page should be characterized by mutual trust, respect, care, and support of one another. Also, it should develop critical awareness of the COVID-19 reality and understand COVID-19 related news. It doesn't mean that whatever we watch on TV or any news that we read or hear is just valid. Also, they should gather information about COVID-19 and people infected with it, the causes, prevention, treatment, and effects of COVID-19 on people's daily lives. They should get up-to-date information from multiple resources, monitor bias on social media, and verify information by examining the source and checking facts. Also, science-based education should be used to understand the formulation of race and its intersection with science, and to avoid connecting diseases with faith and social groups, and to disassociate verbal and non-verbal connections with COVID-19. Also, what students and instructors should do, they should oppose hate content with counter narratives by sending out counter hate textual tweets and creating an expert-based data set of hate speech and counter narratives. Students can respond and react to those and discuss them. And they can use also art and culture. There is one Twitter page that uses art and culture just to combat anti-racism in general. And it's very beautiful. So students can do that in relation to COVID-19. they should publish and watch videos about COVID-19 around the world. Um, and the students can make comments on video content. For example, the UNICEF has very short video clips that um, they host children from different countries, and those children they talk about their life during the lockdown, the coronavirus lockdown. It's very interesting. Also, CNN, they show in between shows and programs like a 1 minute video from a different country, Colombia, and those videos they show how people in those countries live during the COVID-19 lockdown as well. They can publish views of senior Muslim scholars, which show that pandemics are not a punishment from God to all humanity, and raise students' awareness of the Islamic view of the other, and teach acceptance and tolerance. Students can search for and tweet examples of pandemics that took place throughout history. Finally, Arab ministers of information should pass laws for monitoring and eliminating hate and racism speech, and for promoting tolerance, equity, human rights, and social media, and ban violators from using social media. With this, I come to the end of my presentation. You're welcome to make comments or ask me questions about the topics. Of course, I try to be quick because of the time limitations, but you can read the whole study in my paper.
We have 3 minutes, about 3 minutes for question and discussion. So anybody would like to ask questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your very important topic. This is a very serious, important topic. But at the same time, it's going to be very difficult, I think, I mean, in conclusion, you made some suggestions, but I think it would take time.
Yes.
Yes, we have been doing a kind of media literacy programs, education, but we still have very serious issues like this.
But you know, now this anti-hate discourse is less than, for example, in March. People's responses on, let's say, Twitter, you know, because it first spread in China and they had limited knowledge about what's going on. So they start hypothesizing and even stating their opinions without verification, without knowledge, without reading, without. But now, because the whole world is infected, all countries, so they try to change their opinion. As far as the actresses are concerned, or other people, they were attacked by the public because of their, of what they said. Because still, prisoners or foreign workers or asylum seekers or refugees, they're human beings. And if they got the virus, then it's beyond their hands. They have nothing to do, about it. They just got, anybody can get it.
Right.
So now it's much better. If I conducted the study like in March, maybe the percentage of people of a sample, any sample, would be higher than 51%.
Okay. I wonder in between the coronavirus spread, right? And
Yes.
they are exposed to the news.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether we educators, have done anything in between.
Unfortunately, no, because sometimes the educators themselves they have negative opinions
Mm,
because my sample consists of both. So even professors, they
mm,
have these misconceptions or negative views of some countries when they say it's a punishment from God to
mm.
Iran or to China or here and there. So
Yeah.
these are not my opinions. I
Right.
don't think it's a punishment.
Okay. I was just thinking, as an educator, what we could contribute to this
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, I think we've used up time, but the session is until 3:30, so we have about 4 minutes left. So you can ask questions about any of the presentations, I think.
In fact, I conducted this, the topic was on my mind, and I was just saving Twitter pages and like YouTube video clips because all of these, like what Trump said and the actresses, they are documented. They are not like out of my imagination. So I was collecting data and waiting for like a conference to do the study. And then when I got the conference call, I said, okay, this topic will fit the topic of the general theme of the conference. And then in July, I started to conduct the survey.
I think it's really important and interesting topic, um, and I kind of think is the question that was asked by Insang was, what we can do as educators, and I think it's just part of our general duty as educators to develop digital media literacy in students. So your focus there is on the beliefs around COVID and whether it's a punishment from God and so on. But it could equally be, for example, the impact of asylum seekers in UK and the impact of that then on Brexit and so on. So I think the thing is about giving our students the skills of critical thinking and of digital and media literacy, so as they're not influenced so much by these kind of influencers on social media and in other news sources. So I think that's a really, thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. As a matter of fact, like my colleagues or professors at different universities, they've been mainly conducting studies about distance learning. So I wanted to do something different uh, because the day after tomorrow, I'm participating on a seminar about that, the challenges and the opportunities of distance learning. And at the end of the month, I'm going to talk about something similar. So I wanted this to be different. In fact, I conducted 6 studies about COVID-19, and this one and 2 more, they are completely different, not related to COVID-19 from the educational point of view.
So sorry to interrupt. My students, 3 students, made a presentation, and we didn't get any comments or feedback or questions. So if you have anything to ask, please. Nothing.
I just wanted to say I did enjoy the presentation, and I think it was very interesting to do a comparative study like that. And in fact, when this finishes, I was going to share with you a paper that was written by some colleagues of mine, which was also a comparative study based. Comparing Finland, but we're also with Asian countries. I think from memory it was with the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. So
Mhm.
India, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Finland. And so what I'll do is by email connect and share that paper with you. All right.
Oh, thank you very much. Yay.
You.
Okay, I hope it's useful. I mean, it's a slightly different lens to the one you
Mhm.
used, but anyway, it is also a comparative study.
Oh, I see. Thank you. That'll be very grateful. Yeah.
Okay, I think we had a very interesting discussion because of the for very interesting presentation and questions and discussion in this session from different perspectives, comparing different cultures and looking into history and doing many interesting studies. And I think this will be useful in our future for further study and understanding of our society. But I think we can still use this room.